Hey third graders, today we are going to add color to our awesome winter trees we made last time. Now some of your winter trees look different and that is totally fine, but we're going to practice using the color wheel today and practice using the rainbow order. So if you don't know the rainbow order, you can use a color wheel and follow along the color wheel to get rainbow order. And I'll have pictures of color wheel on Google Classroom, and there's also some color wheels at the front of the room to remind you. So the first color of the rainbow is red. So we're going to paint our first tree red. If you are one of those people who did your trees a little bit different and you are painting the sky colorful instead of the trees, you are going to paint with red first in your sky. So you have two choices. You can use these temper cakes or you can use watercolor paint. Either way, you need to share with your neighbors at your table, and you need to make sure you use a lot of water and a little bit of paint. So I'm going to try it with this, but I want to make sure I have a lot of water on my brush. So I'm going to get it nice and wet so I have a nice little puddle going inside of my paint. And I'm going to go ahead and start with the first tree. Here we go. And if you use tempera colored temper cakes, your color is going to be a lot darker. So if you don't like how dark this is, if you can't see your black lines, you're going to want to clean your brush, spread it out with just water. There we go. Now we can see the lines a lot better. Some of you chose a different color besides black, so you might really want to use a lot of water to see that color underneath, because our oil pastel does not like the water, so it'll show up if you use enough water. If your paper gets too wet, you can always go get a paper towel, and you can kind of blot it dry. You can also just kind of let it sit for a little bit and dry while you do something else, and then come back to it if you need to. So there's my first one. The next color of the color wheel is orange. So I don't actually have orange on this, so maybe I'll decide to use orange watercolor paint, or we can try out these more neon colors. Now I want to show you the difference between this is a nice bright dark color. These neon colors do not get very dark, so I'll use this orange just so you can see the difference. So I need to start by waking it up, getting it nice and wet, giving it a little massage, and I should start to get a little bit of a colored rain puddle, and then I am ready to paint my next tree. So as you can see, this orange is very different than the red. It's a lot lighter, a lot brighter, and it doesn't quite look like the regular orange you might be used to. So if you decide you don't actually like this orange, you could, all these paints go together. So you could go back and use a little bit of red over here to make your own orange, because we know that red plus yellow is orange. So I can mix a little bit of that red in there, clean out my brush, then mix a little bit of this yellow. This yellow is really dirty, so I'll show you when I rub it with my paintbrush, I can actually clean it off. Like cleaning my paintbrush and then cleaning the cake, cleaning my paintbrush and then cleaning the cake. I might even go get a paper towel to kind of dry this off and get all the dirty color off. But as you can see, it's getting a lot cleaner already. So this is how you clean your watercolor and your temper cakes. You just kind of rub it, clean off your brush until it's like that. All right, so let's mix a little bit of this yellow in here to make my own orange. So now I have a little bit of a darker orange. All right, the next color of the color wheel is yellow. So this is the last warm color. I could use the neon yellow over here. Let's try that out. Oh, that's a nice yellow. But again, you could use the watercolor paint or the other temper cakes. And as you are painting, remember your paintbrush is a ballerina. It dances on its tippy toes. So you're not going to be pushing down and scratching your paper. That's bad for the paper. It'll tear your paper and it'll mess up the bristles of your brush. So you're just tickling the paper. All right, after the yellow, we're going to start moving into our cool colors. So the next color is going to be green. I can use neon green, regular green. Let's clean off this regular green. And I'm going to go ahead and finish my rest of my color wheel by adding green, blue, and purple. as you can see, I use the tippy toes of my brush to paint into the corners. And a lot of you might not have purple in your paint tray. You definitely have purple in your watercolor paint tray though. So you can either use that or you can make your own purple by mixing red and blue. Now, when you're mixing red and blue, we know that pink is actually like a cousin of red. It's really just red with some light in it. So you can actually use pink to make your purple as well. So if you clean your brush really good and add some pink to your purple, that makes a really cool purple as well. So remember, red and blue make purple, but you can also use pink. All right, now that I have my trees, you'll notice I have a couple mistakes that happened. I splattered on my painting in a couple different places, but you know what? That's giving my art a little bit more personality. So now what we're gonna do is you can take a second to paint your tree trunks.